Hey guys, reading back through the messages. Fish aren't the issue apparently. Mike from Cornwall's got to go, sorry about that. John Pettis gone to bed. Chirp's there. Mark Osborne's there. Bill Baggins is there and still awake, that's awesome. Wazza's there, thanks Wazza. Everett's Workshop's there. You should check out Everett's Workshop if you haven't already. Matt Peterson's there. Paul's here. Paul had a question today. Oh yeah, about the brazing half. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Sorry. I did read your question. We'll have a look at that. Duncan Bullock's there. Poor fish. Rustanox is there. That's awesome. Maddie's there. New video for Maddie today. I haven't watched it. Sorry, Maddie, but I just thought it was there. Anthony Ruddy's there. I think he's got a new drill press. That's easy. Evening to everyone who's going to turn up in the next minute. Yeah, I like that. Now, I'm still putting stuff away. I don't know if anyone notices. This bench, it has clear patches. Which is excellent. And there's probably progress. Have things I really don't know what I'm going to do with yet. We might go through some of them. This drill, this vise here is not much good. Oh, thanks, Everett. I must be making some progress. It's bent, and I don't know whether it's actually made like it or whether it actually is bent. Maybe these bars in here are actually bent, and if so, I could straighten them out. But more likely, it was actually that they're not cast in straight into the top there. So, not sure about that. It's probably not a particularly good woodworking vise anyway. If I straighten it out, I might sell it and buy something bigger. Some poor sod's going to get a box of goodies, and amongst them is going to be this table screw for an expanding table. Someone who makes antique furniture, probably. This one is... Honestly, I've got no idea what this is. It's out of some sort of a machine. It could be out of a microscope or anything. But it's got a nut in it, and it's got two proper C-spanner nuts there to lock it. It looks like it's had a bearing on there, and it bolts in on something. I don't know what that is. It was obviously free. Anthony, what brand is it? It's an Australian-made one. It's a Carter. Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. That's great. We're all following with bated breath, so that's awesome. This is all junk. These two handles here. I bought a box of cutters at an online auction site, one of the big industrial auction sites, a clearance auction. a box of horizontal mill cutters, and they come with those handles, one on each end. They weren't quite that pretty, but I've given them a coat of paint at some point. What I'm probably going to do is make a couple of boxes to go under here, just tills or drawers, for stock. So that's why they're still out. Find some plywood at some point. It's a piece of plasticine there. Roll of wire for coils. This is one of those Audi clamps. I actually clamped something up a bit tighter than I probably should have with it and broke it. So I just realised that my tablet's upside down. But snap the handle off there. Don't think I'll try and resurrect it. I might pinch the bits out of it or pull it apart to see how it works, but that's about it. Might go in the bin. They were like $4 for $10. Yeah, Everett's terrible not being able to find anything. Journeyman Randy, g'day. There's my tape measure. If anyone's looking for my tape measure, it's right there. This is all still stuff. That box goes to Wazza. We won't look in that. Still stuff to sort out. Wazza says back to box. We'll do the box at some point, Warren, but we've got to finish it. This is a hose off a Jobo, which is a film processing plant, which is in one of those boxes. There's some stuff in it, but it's all film stuff. This is a bit delicate, and I was going to draw it out with a view to having a pattern that I could laser cut, but I'm struggling a bit with it, to be honest. I don't even know where to start. This is off my 1931 Gazelle. This is the chain guard, which is sort of a sou'wester or rubberized canvas of some sort. I don't know what it's actually made out of. If anyone's got any clues at all what that might be or where you get it, I might try and find a sheet at some point. But this has got some pretty odd little clips and things around here that I don't know where you even get them. They're just like little, like almost like a bra strap clip that clip together here all the way around. And it's got press studs to fasten this piece at the back so that it goes around the crank. So that's a bit scary, but I might draw it out and then measure it up. The Gazelle had a fabric chain guard, yes, absolutely, and fabric skirt guards on the wheels. They may have been leather. This is what remains of one of them. That's all I've got. And I reckon that's probably leather, but I'm not sure. I don't think that's a fabric. Feels more like leather to me. So there you go. It's not really a new project, no, but we just got this stuff out. I'm just, before this gets any more deteriorated, I'd like to get it drawn up. Here's a query for everyone. In this box, right? Maddie's the expert on clips, apparently. He's probably one of those one-handed guys. Hey, Stephen. This is, among other things, including a Jackson's 3-lever cupboard lock and about a dozen keys, none of which fit the lock. is a Sturmey Archer K-type 3-speed hub from 1930. Look, it's between 1931 and 1933, so it's the right hub. It wasn't quite the right hub because finding one of these with 36 holes for spokes is almost impossible. So what I've done at some time in the past is made new flanges for it and brazed them on. So that should be all right, and that's the correct hub now. However, the reason it isn't back together is that this piece is broken. This is the depth screw. It's got a thread on the end which... Dan's woken up. Had a thread on the end which is 1/16 Whitworth, which is a particularly useful sort of a thing because no one in their right mind has a one... Hey Rob, good to see you. No one in their right mind has a 1/16 Whitworth thread die that I know of. It's 1/16 is 60 TPI. If you can see that, that's the end of it that's broken off, right? So I've got all the measurements. I don't know what it's made out of. I guess silver steel or something to do, right? That goes on there and that screws in the end of that, one end. Yeah, I think it screws in that end there, and that's your adjustment. So, if anyone has a 1/16 Whitworth button die that they would either lend me or undertake to make this for me, I'd be very, very happy, and I could get this tin of stuff all back together and have a hub that I could put in a wheel. So if you want to have a look through, anyone who's got a bunch of Whitworth button dies, have a look through, and I'd be fairly keen to either buy it or borrow it or something, or send you a drawing. Anyway, ta muchly. I can't seem to buy one anywhere. We had some discussion about this the other day, or last week, and I did find them. What TPI is it, Chirpy? 1/16 Whitworth is 55 degrees pitch and 60 TPI. Oh, taps, yeah, I have taps, absolutely. So this is the Gazelle front head badge. And that's the back guard badge. So they're both there and they're both genuine. Pretty excited about that. They're not reproductions. They're the ones that were basically on it. So hey Craig, you okay? Anyway, that's where I'm at with that. And I was going to have a bit of a mess with that and put it back together, but when I look at that, I need that tool, and that's where I was held up with it last time. So there you go. Hey Tom. Yesterday or Monday, I went and bought a couple of plywood sheets here. I spent some money at Bunnings, which is really probably more than I could really justify. But anyway, I needed to get some of this stuff up off the floor and put away. So I've put 2 sheets in here, and I'll get 2 the same for up that end. And I'm going to put 2 big tills in there for, or 3 maybe, something like that, for probably on nylon runners, like a sled, so that I can pull them in and out, and for stock. Rob, yeah, that's my flatmate, who's, I think he's had aquatherapy day to day, so he's probably pretty relaxed. So we'll let him be. 624 Dudley, g'day. So this is the other thing I did. This bench was pretty rickety. We'll come back up here. Sorry about that. Here's my bubble tea. This bench here was pretty lousy actually, and I pulled it down when I got the shaper because it really wasn't up for the job. And bought another bench in two pieces because this was really, it was moving backwards and forwards 3 inches with the shaper on it. And that's a problem. So anyway, I cut the top up and 1/3 of it's on this end and 1/3 of it's screwed on the other end and 1/3 of it's screwed on the back just to brace it. And I found a sheet of 30mm plywood to go on top. So we've got what's a half decent bench now. So I'm pretty happy about that. Shaper's gonna live there unless anyone wants to buy a shaping machine. Honestly, no, I'm probably not going to get rid of it. That's one thing I'm not going to get rid of. But if you're local and you want to collect it, I'm up for offers. Welcome back, Chirp. Yeah, Chirpy, it's not very big. Varnished linen, Kevin, is probably what it was. PMS 254, g'day. Hi all, by the way, Kevin says. Craig, you're way ahead of me. You must be nearly done. Nice day for us, Knox. It was a nice sunny day here too. It was a bit cool overnight. But I want to get stuff put away, absolutely. Craig says the shaper means a motor. The shaper needs, if it's powered, needs some really sympathetic parts made for it that fit in rather than something chop and drill holes in the end of it and stuff like that. It wants to be reversible, the repair. John, thanks. The manual says, or the repair manual says that it's 16th Whitworth, but I might have another fiddle round and find a tap. It is a pretty unusual thread. We're all liking Russ Knox beam engine build, absolutely. So we've got the shaper there. Probably going to lose everything here when I turn this. We've got the drill press. The Linish is there sort of semi-permanently. I don't know, temporarily. And down the end there, we've got the tapping machine, which is a pretty useful tool. So really, that's awesome. My sheet metal folder's in the vise there. I've just got the vise bolted up today. He's all right. That's with Wednesday night. He's fine. Chirp, I think he'll be fine. He's asleep when I went in there before. I think he's a bit noisy Wednesday night because it's his hydrotherapy day or something. Yeah. He says, wake him up if it's a problem. I really don't want to do that. So that bench is kind of okay. Now, There's junk here that I really want to fix. It's a whole lot of it. Surprising amount of junk. This space here. How big is the paper? 6.5, 7 inches. Anthony, I know you'd like it, but you haven't got room for it. So, in under there is a wind-up gramophone with a broken box. I think that's about all that's wrong with it. I think if you clean the top up and did some messing around and plating it, and serviced the motor, it'd probably work pretty well. It's not a bad looking gramophone, it's all there. So it's an Australian made one, and before anyone asks, I've got no idea. It's not a Regal, not sure. So I figured, well, maybe that might be a good place to... Here he is. You all right?
Yeah, you're trying.
Yeah, you're all right. It's all good. We're all dying to meet you, but every time we go in there, you're asleep.
Sorry?
We're all dying to meet you, but every time you go in there, you're asleep.
Hello, everyone.
Hang on. Here you go. Hey, hello, everyone. This is Dan. He's over there.
Yeah, everyone. Who's everyone?
Hey, half the internet.
Like, there's that people overseas and everything.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't want to see me.
Oh, apparently we've had several requests.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see.
Okay. He says, yeah, righto. Everyone says, hey, Dan, and evening, Dan. There you go. Anyway, so that might be a good way to cut my feet on nickel plating. So we might clean that up. I don't know. We might get a coat of paint yet on the plated bits, but anyway. There you go. Now, this mill is a bit of a problem over here. Not really feeling it here. I'm going to put this here. Oops. Let's straighten it up. That looks like it mightn't fall on the ground and break my tablet. I'm not as confident about that as I would like to be, but there you go. Got the link, Anthony, thanks. I'll have a look at that. I haven't yet, but I just saw it. So, as you can see, this bench is about 100 mil, 80 mil or something, this one over here, lower than this one. And that makes this mill just a fraction too high, and it doesn't give enough headroom to put the DRO and everything on the bracket up there. So I'm going to have to get this mobile bench over here and skid that off onto there and put the bench down another hole, because I only guessed it, and skid it back on. So that's a job for next weekend. I was going to have that done, but I haven't yet. There you go. Oops. Under here, have a look. There's a bag of rags. There's a gas bottle, which I haven't got a home for yet. There's a box of antique watch parts in there, which I haven't even dared look through yet. There's an Ajax water pump. If anyone wants an Ajax water pump, the surplus to requirements here, come and get it. Anthony, I'm looking at you. Here's another job that I'd like to get fixed now we've got sort of permanent residency here. Fridge needs the pump. Look, I bought this, or I was given this, right? This pump. I was given this pump as a... And I had this thought that I wouldn't have bought it. But I did have this thought that I was going to convert it to a steam engine. Let's pull it out and have a look at it if we got time. Hang on. That's not going to work. We'll put you back up over here. These clamps are great, except there's nowhere to clamp anything to. There we go. Look at that spare floor. Actual floor. Now, we'll get to the drum switch in a minute, Craig. Didn't that come from you, Fridge, the drum switch? Didn't I buy that off you? There you go. Anthony, yes, it's a shelf. I had a view to turning this into a steam engine. Our American gentleman named, oh gosh, Rudy Kuholt or something like that. I think his name's Kuholt. He did a, yeah, Craig's onto it. Kuholt. Oh, it wasn't far out. I think his name's Kuholt. He did a series of articles in Home Shop Machinist on converting one of these to a steam engine. It was quite nice. I've got all the bits probably to do it. However, his was different by quite a lot, because this one has an eccentric to drive the pump, and he's had a crank. So you can't really drive something with a piston via an eccentric. You need to put a crank in it. So it needs a new crankshaft out of something. And then there's not enough clearance for the crankshaft to work in the slide. So either a Scotch yoke or something like that might work with it, but it's a lot of messing around. And then you've got to make a cylinder for it, and you've got to make a valve box and all that stuff, and find a big flywheel for it and all that. So it's a big job, like Matty says. Yes, bigger job than expected when I pulled it apart. It's all free, I think. It might need a little bit of work. Much better off building a steam engine from scratch. Have a look at Russ Knox's video. Is excellent. Matty's going to say no next time. That's awesome. Anyway, that's that project. And Fridge, if you can use that, it's here. So when you come up, I fully expect you to have room to take it back. There you go. Job's done. Now, what I want to do, this is, what I don't have over this end is somewhere to put this. What's the best way to do this? Not like that. Might be all right. Can't read the screen though, without standing back here. July's not that far away. I can put up with it till then. Poor Russ nuts. Now, I've got a drum switch, which is awesome. And I would like to use this because this mill needs to be reversible. I would like very much to put it here on the bench somewhere, probably up this end, and have it operating, but it needs to operate the VFD. So anyone who knows anything about how to make that work or how to hook it up, you let me know and we'll talk about it, because I want to put that on there and I want to have the thing sorry PGS about the seasickness. Warren says have to plan ahead. Yeah. Anyway, anyone knows how to hook that up to a VFD? Wait until I've got the VFD back on here. But that's the next project, the next machine to go together. So there we go. Sorry about the seasickness again. Shift the easel. These lockers were here and they're awesome. It's full of junk mostly. There's a pretty good sort of a range of junk in there. We need to get in and sort out, find some trays for stuff. That one's nearly empty. It's got vacuum cleaner bags in. That one has 2 or 1.5 bits for Chirpy's boilers. The other bits are over here on the bench. I've been working on them. That's woodworking gear. So, also got this board down the bottom, which looks brand new, which it is, to fill in that last shelf down here. So I've put the oven over on this side so you can get the door open and get into it rather than over here. So we'll get round to the VFD in a minute. Everett says, should not the VFD have reversing programmable into it? It certainly does, I think. I don't think it's that difficult. I just don't know how to do it. So the oven's there, the little pantograph engraver's there, which needs a little bit of backlash work. Now, Paul says, let's put this here. Sorry about the seasick again. Oh, by the way, this amazing bandsaw's here on this bench at the moment. Not sure if it's going to stay here, but it seems like a pretty good spot for it for now. Big thanks to everyone for that. Paul watched this video and asked a question about it and wanted to know if I'd change anything, if it still worked, all that sort of stuff. The video's old, like seriously old. And this has seen a lot of use, right? And for the old workshop, it was fantastic. At some point, I plan to have something about 600 square would be awesome if I'm going to make a boiler for Princess Marina. Look, I've had the thing running for hours and you still can sit your hand on top of it. I don't think at this point it's going to be a problem. If it is, we'll monitor the situation. If it's not getting air circulation, but it does have a big fan in it, so I'm not sure about that. I'd like it on top of the bench too, but we just don't have any tops of benches really. At this point, it's under there. Anyway, what would I fix about this? Right? It's got an extra couple of fire bricks in here, which are always helpful. One, I would make this frame on the outside a little bit more higher so it supports it, so this doesn't happen. Right. 2, I wouldn't put a lip on the front, which seems like a really good idea, but I would have dropped this down flush because it makes it very difficult to sweep and very difficult to pull things off and quench them. I'd make it a bit bigger. And I'd probably make the fire bricks a little bit higher around 2 sides, so you've got something to lean something up against. At this point, you end up doing something like this, and then if you breathe too heavy, they all fall over, which is an issue. So that's sort of where we're at with that. But it still gets a lot of use, and it will continue to get a lot of use, but probably at some point in the distant future when I'm feeling solvent again after moving, and the debacle of actually selling stuff on marketplace, etc., and people hit me up for refunds because it isn't exactly what they wanted or what they thought they were going to get, or anyway, that's a long story. Not happy about that at the moment. I would probably make something about 600 square. If you can find a bit of perf metal or a bit of weld mesh, or even a sheet of tin probably to make this out of, and fold up a tray about 600 square and put a square frame under it and put legs on it and have it freestanding, it'd be awesome. But pretty good tools. One of the best things I've ever made because it gets used really regularly. So, yeah, that's what I sort of had before, Anthony. It doesn't really work particularly well because they end up being too cluttered up with junk underneath them that you can't move them. So I'm going to try and avoid that. I'm going to make an exception for my tool and cutter grinder. I want to put that on a wooden shelf and roll that yellow box in underneath it, so I can pull it out and sit at the tool and cutter grinder. Something like that, Chirpy, would be really good. So anyway, on Thursday I had sold a girl, so I'm going to have a whinge about this. On Thursday I sold a girl some expired sheet film for large format cameras. Now it's expired by about 10 years. The boxes weren't open. I hadn't really had a good look at it because the boxes were still sealed. And I sold it on, and I sold it at about 20% of market value for new film, not even. She did pretty well out of it. For example, a 25 sheet box of 5x4 ADOX film now is about €100, and a 25 sheet box of Ilford FP4 is about 120 or something euro. Anyway, she only paid about $1 a sheet for this stuff, not even. And it's expired, no, all the expiry date's listed, and you take it as whatever you think, and made sure she knew it was expired. Anyway, she got upset because I didn't post it the very next day because, work got busy and it just didn't happen, and I apologised and I sent her a tracking number when I did post it the day after. And, hey, John. Yeah, Anthony, it was just black and white film. And of course, there was a whole, the lot that I listed were completely different to the lot that she wanted, and she picked the eyes out of it and bought it at a reduced price. And then it arrived on Monday, and anyway, she's not happy with it because she's pulled one sheet out of the box and developed it, and it's got a funny watermark on it or something. And whether that's a developing problem or whether it's a camera problem or whether it's a film problem, I don't know, and I don't really care because the stuff's 10 years out of date and you pay accordingly. And people love expired film because you never know what you're going to get. So anyway, I sort of said, well, if you're not happy with it, this was the other day, I said, if you're not happy with it, then pull it all out and expose it and send me a picture of the exposed films under the sunlight and I'll give you a refund. And that way we've both learned our lesson and that's it. And I would do that. So she's opened a box and she's run a couple of sheets through the camera and they're not exactly how she'd like them, so she wants her money back. And of course she paid with PayPal, so she's put a freeze on my PayPal for $120 or something. And basically I said, well, because I told her, look, you bought expired film, what do you expect from something that's basically a garage sale? I'm not a dealer or anything. So I kind of, hey Nigel, I kind of got a bit upset with her and told her, I think I was politer than some people would have been. And anyway, she's reversed the money through PayPal and put it through the claim. So I said, if you can send it back the way it was, an open package the way you received them, I will consider a refund. But I know she can't do that because she's already opened a couple of the boxes. So at this point, we'll await development, but she's not getting all the money out. She's not getting her money back, but she's put a freeze on my PayPal for that much money, which I'm not very happy about. Anyway, that's enough, and I'm really not that impressed about people who, seriously, you're a film photographer, you're a little bit experimental, you would expect that film photographers would be the sort of people who would be okay with not controlling every part of the process to the limit that they need to. Some of them aren't, but seriously, it was a gift, basically. It was giving it away, and I could have given it away to anyone, but she was the one that put her hand up and said she wanted it. So she had an Indian name, so no picture on her profile, so I'm guessing that may have something to do with her sharp negotiating skills. But anyway, I'm not happy. What did I say in the ad? Expired date. Expired film with expiry dates on all the ad everywhere. This box is this date. This box is this date, with pictures of the labels with expiry dates on them. So not that difficult to get it right, or to realise that you buy an expired film, you don't know what you're going to get. But very, very, very unimportant, very unimpressed. If she had shot any film at all, really, she would probably know that. But I'm not impressed. But she just had to make sure that, you know, try a sheet of film before we destroy it and you give me a refund. So now I don't really feel like giving her a refund at all because she's opened the box. And anyway, she could have screwed it up. It could be a fingerprint from her, or it could be anything, but it's not me, and it's quite likely it's a development problem. Not a film she's used before, so probably anyone who's half reasonable to deal with. I would have given them a hand to show them how to process it or how to fix the issues. But this female, I'm really not that impressed about it. So yeah, it's most likely unprofessional. It's expired film. You're not going to get perfect results out of 10-year-old film, 12-year-old film. And you could order a box from Germany because no one in Australia's got it. And you could pay, 100, 115 euro a box plus freight. And you could have it here in a month. But anyway, she was fussy. She was upset because she didn't get it next day. Anyway, that's that. Sorry. So I hope PayPal sort of takes my side a little bit. I'm pretty sure they won't. Got to finish this at some point. It's not finished. And for a number of reasons. One, I run out of ideas, and two, I run out of money, and three, I run out of machines to do things. It needs some sort of a pop out on here, which pops this dog clutch out at the end of the, so that there's free wheels. So it has a lever, it comes along, and when you get to the end of the cut, it'll pop this out, and then this will free wheel and it'll stop cutting. So got to make something here. I'd like it micrometer adjustable or something. I'm really not sure how to do that. Waiting for ideas on that. It's kind of why I don't like selling stuff either. I'd rather give things away. But anyway. So that's one thing. Two, it needs a quick release on here because I've just got 2 grub screws on this shaft. And that's less than ideal. So I would like some sort of a click on, click off sort of a coupling here. And I don't really know what to put here yet. Still thinking about that. And there'd be some sort of a dog clutch, but it needs probably something like this with a groove in here and a ball bearing or a screw-in ball. Stephen Lang got me some more of these little screw-in. Where is it? There's a little ball detent behind there, or the screws in there. He got me some of those from McMaster Car, and I've got them put away, and probably it'll have something like that. So you just click it on in place and it drives. It needs a lever here, one of those levers with the spring-loaded thing, so that you can put it where you want it and then undo it, just to lock that up. These collars I need to redo because they've all got a bit of taper in it, especially the thin ones. There's a spacer collar goes between the 2 gears, and they've got a bit of taper in them. So when you put 2 gears on here, you take the long one off and you put a spacer in and another gear on top. And they've all got a bit of wobble in them, so I don't like that. I'm going to make some up and get someone to surface grind them. We'll see how we go with that, but that's another job. I was waiting for a bead roller to make some sort of a sheet metal cover for this. Hey, Dennis. And that'll probably happen at some point. So at this point it's functional for cutting threads, absolutely, but it's not really complete. So there you go. There's the rest of the change gears there. If anyone's particularly interested. This machine here is sitting here. Bought it off Maddie for a song. I'd really like to get it going. It needs its own independent bench and it needs a bit of money spent on it. At this point, it's well down the list. Another thing I'd like to put on here, and if you have a look at John Creasy's Instagram and some pictures he put on Facebook, he's made a dust extractor to go in under the wheel in the back of this, which it looks really, really good, his latest one. You didn't get paid for that, didn't you, Matty? Did I send you some money? Hit me up. I hope I did. This lever here is what I want to put one of those. I didn't sing. Okay, I want to put one of those on the thread cutting attachment. John's put a pretty decent looking dust extractor on this if you have looked at his Instagram, so I'm really liking that. Really liking that. There's another project there in the front that's a long way down the list of projects. Long way. There is no song. So, while you're all here, there's all sorts of stuff coming out of boxes and things here. And some of the boxes from the kitchen, and some of them from the workshop, and some of them from the 3D print room, all sorts of stuff. So I'm emptying them slowly and sorting stuff out. You can't see that. No one can see that. Still can't see it. Sorry. I can't sing. I'm sorry. Anyway, this bike frame's got a bend in it. I don't know if Duncan Buller's still there, but he might be the guy to talk to about this. He may not be too. He can bow out. Hi, Darren. Hey, Dan Harold. Good day. These forks are bent in the front, and the nickel's got to be stripped off and replated. I'm going to get here him sort of half in front of the camera. Sorry, I'm pretty scruffy. But I don't know if you can see that. Hey, Rob. Now, if we have a look, this front the fork tube and the seat tube line up. However, and they're reasonably vertical and all that sort of stuff. The two legs out the back that hold the wheel on have definitely had a prang because they don't line up even close, right? As you can see, they sort of swing out that way. I guess it's just a matter of heating them in the right spot and bending them and making a jig to sit it on and then setting everything up with a square and a carpenter's pencil on a sheet of plywood and finding the centre. But that's one of the major hurdles. Got to do something about that. There's not a lot of support in the back of this bike because it's not really designed for jumping, or it's a shopping bike. So that's something we've got to fix. That's cold said is better. Thanks, Duncan. I think it could just be one of them that's bent. I'm not sure, but the wheel was in it before, so it could be both of them. I'm really not sure. I guess you've got to put the hub back in. If we do that now, we have an AW Sturmey Archer, which is 1969. It's a bit late for this, so I'm going to spend the money on this bike. It's going to be Concours. So maybe it's just this leg that's bent in, because this hub wasn't in there. It was the wheels that were on it were something different completely. They're both different sizes. They're both completely rusted out. The rims went in the garbage. I would say since it had new wheels on it, and someone's just bent one leg in to fit the wheel, and since then it's had a coat of black paint over everything. So I think it's probably just that side one that's bent. So at some point we're going to have to sort that out. I'm going to give this a rub down with a bit of acrylic thinners and see if I can get some original artwork underneath it. If I could find that, I'd be very, very happy. But not real helpful. Should be easy fix. Thanks for that. This one too. Jeez, hang on. That was pretty good. I just put my hand straight on that. I'm really impressed. Not really high enough. But I think one of these has got a slight bend in it. It's loose under there and not under the other. So this one's loose. So I think there's a slight bend in that fork. So that's another job that we need to fix. So anyway, there we go. Not getting really serious about this bike, but I'd like to get some of it put back together and then assess what we really need to do. In particular, get the Sturmey Archer hub put back together and done. And to do that, probably we need to, it's a black hub, which would have been genuine. We've got nickel plating on all the other bits, so we need to assess what's involved in getting the thing nickeled and what sort of paint to put on it, which I've got no idea, to be honest. And also the decals and artwork and stuff on it, if we can find any original. So if we get some of this sort of documented for now, it can go back in a box for 6 months, 2 years, I don't care. I live long enough. Anyway, another thing I did this weekend, which I'm really impressed about, is I made a frame for this second sticker board and screwed it up in place and put the subscription counter back up, and I sorted out PowerPoints on that bench, and I filled in the holes where the shaper was so that nothing falls down, and I sanded back the bench top. So that's another bench that's sort of half finished. So we're doing all right. What I'd really like to do is get back to the Cocoa Pop racer. That's exactly right. That's just a matter of of getting there and having some spare cash at the moment, because I'm recovering from moving, and big thanks to anyone who's really given me a hand with that. I really appreciate it. I'm on the other side, I think, so that's good. But right now, projects like that, the R&D projects, are going to have to wait a little while. So hopefully I fixed the stock problems. Those boxes down there, part of one of them's full of brass and one of them's full of steel. Part of my stock issues, the stock storage issues. But we're getting there. Anyway. But it's just a matter of time. And things will get sorted again, which I really like. Anthony's watching Project Pinky. Sorry. Yeah, look, if you want a good channel on making brackets, which is all it is. Excuse me. If you want a channel on making brackets, go and check out Project Binky by Bad Obsession Motorsport. Pretty crazy project, but there's a lot of it, and it's been going on for years. But it actually looks like it might happen now. Thanks, Dennis. But yeah, stock and scrap storage is going to be a challenge, and I really don't know. But there's room under this big bench here, and I'm going to make some fairly spacious, fairly shallow trays, I think, so that I can just tip it all in. I'm going to put nylon runners under it so that it can skid backwards and forwards pretty reasonably without too much effort. I think that's what I'm going to do. And put them back in any order, or I can pull them out and sit them on the floor and skid them around, or I can sit them up on the bench or whatever. So there we go. Anyway, that's sort of the update at this point. That's how we're doing. We're doing okay. I'm feeling more like this is a bit more organised. There's still boxes upstairs, and the recycle wheelie bin went out last night. It's back in and it's empty, so it's going to be full again by about Friday. And the other wheelie bin's empty too, so we might bring it out here at some point and stock it up again. But yeah, there's just a sort of junk everywhere, you know. It's a matter of finding a home for it. Well, that sounds like a plan, Everett. Yeah, please stop making videos that doesn't involve brackets. That's about it. You're doing good, Dennis. And it's nice to be able to work from home. Also sorting out bolts. The bolt situation is a bit of a problem. I think I showed you the bolt sorting situation before. But I'm trying not to have things in boxes. I'm trying not to have things that I can't just lay my hands on at a moment's notice. That's where I'm at. I like things that I can... basically, I like things that there's no point having something if you can't just grab it. Dan, yes, I broke the Audi clamp. It's obviously was gluing something. There's no available time working from home. We understand that. Now I may have done it up fairly tight, but I may also have dropped it, or I may have stepped on it or something. I've got no idea. Anyway, it went bang when I was gluing up when I was clamping something on here to cut it off. I really want to, up here on the wall, see I've got all this space, which seems to be a bit of a waste. Don't know if you noticed. And someone in the past has had a rack or something there, and they've filled in the dynaboat holes or whatever it was. Got no idea what they had up there. But what I really want to do, landlord permitting, is to run a wooden rail all the way along here to hang some artwork from, so I can change it round a bit, just like a French cleat rail. And that might be the best thing, don't know. But if we can do that, then I can hang up some decent artwork up there and projects and things. So that's a thought there. Anyway, everyone's gone quiet. Anyone who jumped up and down and wished me a happy birthday for yesterday, that's awesome, but I'm not acknowledging them anymore, so it was a bit of a waste. And I'm a lot older than I thought I was, so embarrassingly I need to sort of, don't worry about it, Matt, please don't. Not fishing for birthday comments at all, even a little bit. But it's still today, I think, in the States. Anyway. Getting to the point in my life where birthdays are pretty irrelevant. Now, something I was going to show you. I did make a promise. Anyway, no one knew. That's good. That's the way we like it. I did say to someone, who did I say that to? What's the VFD look like? Oh! Etc. Sorry. Whoa! You didn't need to see that, but anyway. Once Tom got past 18, that's about where we are. Yeah, something like 30 and half as much again. So this is it, right? It's a cheap one, but it's done the job. It's pretty good. It's a lot better than the one on the lathe, because that's terrible. When you start that, that's got a noisy fan for some reason. Oh my gosh, sorry. That might have been a bit much. Anyway, it's up here on the bench now, so there's no excuse. Gimbazalic, g'day. Is that who I saw? Yeah, it's Gimbazalic. K-space 22, yeah. Or a bit more. High voltage inside, risk of electric shock. So some of these terminals here should work. Should be programmable. I've got no idea. And Well, the issue with the drums with this is that it's up on the wall out of the way, and you've got to reverse the thing every time you want to use it. Because if you use an end mill, it runs one way, and if you use a horizontal milling cutter, it runs the other way. So might be fun, might not, but anyway, that's the plan. If anyone knows of an easy way to hook it up, send me an email about it, or let me know, or jump on Discord and chat about it. But probably next weekend when I get it sorted out, I'd like to start thinking about making that work. So there we go. Yeah, the mirror is a bit of a trap. I don't imagine that it's probably very difficult to hook that up. And what I would like, I guess more than anything, what I would like is a remote reversing switch on it. So I don't have to go to D10 and select 1 or 0, remember which way is which, and then go back through the program menu and start the machine. So I don't know, it feels a bit like it probably needs an interlock on it as well, so you can't just bump it, but I'm not sure how to do that. I'll check that out, Matty. Bill's at the I'd Like World Peace stage of the night. That's fair enough. I probably have a copy of the manual somewhere on VFD or on PFD, so I might send that too. So anyway, that runs at chirp. This is a 960, 980 RPM 6-pole motor, 3-phase 6-pole motor. So this is a fairly common thing here in Australia, I guess. It's 3-phase, so it's 415 volts and it's six pole. So it runs sort of 3/4 of the speed of a 4-pole motor. Is that right? Something like that. Good luck, Tim Wazalik. You really need some of those. 2/3, Craig says. Yeah, whatever. Probably 2/3. I didn't do the maths. Well, this is over cranked on this VFD quite considerably. So the thing runs to about 150, 160%, something like that, which gives me enough to run a 1/4 inch end mill. So, and also means that I can get this thing down by gearing and have enough torque with this big motor to actually run the thing down to about 40 RPM for a 4-inch side and face cutter. Thanks, Dennis. I'm sort of just hoping for a magic sort of an answer to that. But anyway, this has still got it. I'm going to take this off this board, which is temporarily how it was set up before, and I've still got to bolt it up on the machine and wire it in and all that sort of stuff. It'll probably go under the bench this time. I think it might be best. Or in the front of the bench anyway, so that I can reach it. And I've got to put the DRO display and everything up. And then when I've adjusted the bench a bit so that it's at the right height, I can sit this motor on and put the pin back in, the belt back on. Thanks, Kevin. Good to see you. Not talking about using a reverse switch for reversing the high current lines of the motor. No, I'm not. What I would like is to use a low voltage switching system. I don't care if I put a modern drum switch in it, or I don't care if it's got 2 reed switches and a bumper in it, or what, if I've got to modify the switch. But what I would like to do is to have a period switch on the machine and with some reliability so that I can select forward and reverse, and then hopefully start it from the VFD rather than actually start it from the reversing switch, which I don't like. Thanks, John. So I'd like to use the switch rather than a stop and start switch as a selector switch, so that it's selected forward or reverse, and then probably either another switch, or to use the actual button on the VFD, like the green button to stop start. This is wired Delta because it needs to be for the VFD. Hey Mark, good to see you. So there's 1,000 terminals there, and none of them are even really numbered very well. They've got numbers underneath. There's an A plus and a B minus, and an A/1 and an AOI, and a positive 10 volt and a ground, the DK1, DK2, DK3. Probably DK4, CMS and common, plus 24 volts and something else. And this one's RA, RB and RC. So I've got no idea really. It's all low voltage, John says, just look in the manual. Yeah, I've had a bit of a look, but it's kind of in English, so, well, it's kind of in Chinese. And it doesn't actually say how to wire a vintage reversing switch into the wheel to make it reverse. There's not actually a passage about that, but we'll work it out between us, I'm sure. I hope. Got to get it all back on the shelf first and get it all wired up and going, and then we'll start thinking about it. And there's about 1,000 variables in the menu. I don't know what all of them do, but I managed to get it working sort of half reasonably. Which model? This is the other stupid thing about VFDs, is it's around the side that's bolted against the wall every single time. Model V8M. One R5GB. 1.5 kilowatt. we go. Don't know. Food for thought anyway. I'd like to get that fixed this weekend. Yeah, work doesn't like the website, probably. Greg's got it. And I'm not sure Vico's actual brand or whether it's imported. It just seems to be stuck on there. When I went to buy another one of these for the lathe, because it's a really good VFD, and it'd be really nice to have two with the same system in them so you can remember them, I couldn't find one anywhere. So I've got a different one on the lathe again, which is a pain. Sorry, the noise is the lychee pearls in my bubble tea. Anyway, we've about worn our welcome out here. Thanks heaps everyone for tuning in, and thanks for all the encouragement and all the awesome things that you do for me. I really appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to getting this workshop up and running and tidy and sorted. Craig will be impressed because there's not all that much stuff on the actual floor at this point. But there'll be less stuff by the time Dan and Wazza turn up and actually take some off their hands. If they think they're going away empty-handed, there'll be something wrong. And yeah, I've got a lot of stuff in these shelves, drawers, like it's starting to fill up. But what you don't see is that these drawers here, the red ones, and that chest is chock-a-block full still, like packed in. And these black ones down here that used to be cutting tools and things are also chock-a-block full and packed in with bubble wrap. Hey chat, welcome back. This box here is also chock-a-block full and needs some fairly serious sorting out. So there you go. There's two bearing blocks there that I reckon that someone wants, and a wooden pulley. I'm pretty sure who's going to take them home. There's a bandsaw there. It's all here somewhere. This box here is full of bandsaw bits. And sorry about the C-sec thing, BGS. There's a bandsaw table. So it's a matter of putting that back together and putting some paint on it before I do so I can still move it around. And then I have a 15-to-1 three-phase motor to go on it to make that work. Still got some sheet and stuff that isn't in the rack, but a lot of that's cork boards and sheet board, like things like that. A lot of it can be tossed out. I need a bandsaw. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. And this bike used to be my everyday transport, so it'd probably get a clean up at some point, but it needs a pressure wash and probably some new components. Anyway, there we go. Well, the amazing thing, Mark, is that I may have more space, but I certainly don't seem to have, I seem to have more junk than I can fit in it, so I don't know what to do about that. Anyway, I'm probably going to call it because I've waffled on for long enough, and I don't know if anyone else is particularly interested in things like that. But I really do appreciate everyone signing in and everyone clicking the like and subscribe buttons and all that stuff, and not that it makes a lot of difference. And appreciate the time to catch up with everyone. So I'm out. Bill's going to bed. I'm going to watch Maddie's video probably. And everything's going all right. So take care. Take care, Tom, Paul, Anthony. That's awesome. Anyone who's tuned into the chat again tonight for the first time, I really appreciate you guys making the community. So that's awesome. Just because you're watching doesn't mean you don't have to have a voice. And I really, really appreciate meeting new people and adding to the community is really awesome. So do that. Go check out PGS. Give him a few more subscriptions. Should have some videos on the new lathe at some point. So check him out. He's making a drill stand at the moment, which is a project of mine, but I'm learning from where he's going. Anyway, thanks, Mats, and I'll talk to you. But I'm out, and it's nearly bedtime. Appreciate you all, and I'll catch you next week if there's no video before. Well, Matty, yeah, PGS is new later. Can't wait either. Take care, Nigel. We need an update on your logo. And BMS 254 says, have fun and get out the shed. That's a really good advice, actually. So anyway, I'm out, and thanks, everyone.